Nope.
That's what always happens.
Wrong movie.
No.
Oh, okay.
Another suggestion is that it could have been a small capsule placed under the pedals, so it would have burst the capsule that would have then slowly filled the car with noxious fumes, and it would have poisoned them that way. Or, even better, it could have been dry ice placed in the back of his car. And I think I like this theory because I think acute illness does fit with a lot of the facts of the story, discounting even that they looked maybe ill when they left.
So here's my initial problem with all of these gases released in the car.
Yeah.
It's New Year's Day in Australia, which means it's high summer.
Yeah, the windows. I was
The
thinking
windows
that
are
too.
not going to be rolled up and the heater on. The windows are probably going to be down because it's warm.
Well, but it's still like 4 or 5 in the morning, so it probably was cool. My understanding, it was kind of cool out there.
That was my understanding too.
Okay, I'm
yeah.
just thinking. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it's high summer. I will, even if I have to get in my car at 6 a.m., I end up cracking the window because it's a little warm in the car because it's been shut up for a couple of hours while it's still hot. Because if he got to the party, what, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, but
car's
even
still going to be stuffy.
Yeah, but if the windows were only cracked, not all the way down, it could still, if it were
True.
potent enough toxin.
That's
could
true. Okay,
totally affect
I'll
them.
give you that.
So Chehalis, as I was talking about earlier.
Shayless
Chalice?
So he,
in the palace.
Yeah.
you guys are the worst. He happened to be parked kind of where they found Gibbs' car when Gibb and Margaret pulled up. So he's actually an eyewitness to some of their last moments. This was likely around 4, I would say, probably around 4 a.m., maybe closer to 5. He had just walked, because I guess people are crazy like that sometimes. And he said that a car pulled alongside him or up close to him. It was Gibbs' car, and that there was a woman in it who he couldn't see. He said that he had the impression that the driver was about to speak to him, but didn't. And he also said that the driver looked pale, but he thought maybe he was just drunk, which is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chehalis went out for the walk and returned to his car about an hour later, and he noticed that actually the car had been reparked, which is a bit odd, in fairness.
Gibbs' car.
Gibbs' car, yeah, had been reparked. But Chehalis had only one hand, so he couldn't...
He was a vet.
Yeah, so he couldn't turn his car around, so he did this little loop, which is the path that the boys were walking. And that's when he saw the guy dart across.
The blonde.
Well, it wasn't
The
the
blondie
same
guy.
path, but it was the car track, not the footpath. Because the footpath crosses the road, and
sorry.
the road goes across the bridge.
Yeah, sorry, that's... Well, no, it's a golf course path,
Yeah, but it's not for driving your car down.
but he did drive his car down it.
Oh, he did?
Yes, because he couldn't get turned around. He was parked on it, and he couldn't get turned around, so he took the loop.
Okay, I totally misconstrued that. I thought he made a loop through a different route. Okay.
No, there's
got
a
it.
map that describes it pretty well.
And I remember looking at it.
Yeah.
I just, as I always do,
Sure.
mixed up a map.
Fair, totally fair. Anyways, that's when he saw the aforementioned
Blondie-haired man.
yellow blondie-haired man. There's certainly some oddities here. Gibb was a scientist, and many people believed, as we said, he could have been target for assassination. Aerosol poisoning would have been a fairly clean way to assassinate somebody. It seems the onset of whatever happened was pretty acute. Vomit and poop everywhere, Gibbs' body, the stripping down of their clothes. I also have some problems with the Lover's Lane theory in general, that they would go out into the forest to have their liaison. Why not just park your car in a secluded area?
Wanted to do it in the car.
Yeah.
That evidently is one of the reasons that Gibb had that piece of carpet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is so
Compilation carpet.
Yeah, she could put the carpet down on the ground and then sit on the carpet and not get dirty.
That's
Well,
fair.
except,
Why he had
except from touching the carpet.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yes,
she didn't
but she
know.
wouldn't get muddy. How's
Yeah.
that, Joe?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds good. They did pick kind of a scuzzy spot, though.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have problems with that, just in general, the whole Lover's Lane thing. It does truly to me look like two people who got really sick and started running to have their sickness wherever. Additionally, Margaret being found 45 feet away from Gibb, that's odd to me. And the coroner did place her time of death 2 hours after his. And eventually, he did. They initially thought that they had died at the same time, but then it was found that he died at 5 a.m. and she died at 7 a.m.-ish. So poison, I don't know, it metabolizes differently in your body. It could explain why they died at different times. If
Yeah, how
somebody
you
were gonna-
respirate it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
If it were under his seat, he would have gotten most of it and she would have gotten some of it. I don't know. Disoriented, she could have been disoriented. That's why she had his underwear that far away. She was trying to pull her underwear up and then just fell over and died. I don't know. It does seem to me that they just were really sick for whatever reason and really disoriented.
there's stuff about the fact that they were at the riverbank.
Yeah.
And that's where the trail of feces begins.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know that at the riverbank, on a muddy riverbank, is where I would go to have a nighttime affair.
Yeah, I don't think that's where I would go either.
Mucky, not where I would consider optimal romance.
I agree.
But then again, romance probably wasn't really involved in this.
Yeah, but I'm a little surprised that Dr. Bogle was, at least, it was ignorant of this thing. Like, for example, people think sex on the beach is really romantic.
Bad.
No, it's a bad idea. Bad idea.
Because the kind of germs and stuff that exist and toxins that exist in sand on beaches, and I'm sure it's the same for this river, are things that you really don't want to get inside your body.
Well,
Never
also
mind
just
friction.
Sand.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah.
Well, let's not
Let's
talk
not.
about
Let's
friction.
just. So that's
Yeah.
just
Move forward.
Yeah.
Because we were about to go down a really bad trail.
Yeah.
Can we just go to the next theory?
Well, yeah, no problem. But, yeah, there's one last theory, and this is something that's gained traction in recent years, and this theory is that Bogle and Chandler were killed by hydrogen sulfide poisoning. The big proponent of this theory is an Australian guy named Peter Butt, who made a documentary on the topic, and that was aired, by the way, on ABC, which is the Australian broadcast channel, I think. And he also wrote a book that talks a little bit more extensively about his theory, and the book is called Who Killed Dr. Bogle and Mrs. Chandler? And I want to give another shout out to Alina, listener we talked about at the beginning, who suggested this episode, and she was kind enough to send us a copy of the book, which is really awesome. Because
Yeah. We all read. Steve was like, everybody read this.
Yeah.
It was one of my first actual homework assignments for everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, a real book. Here you go.
Yes.
Not just check out this silly black background website.
Yeah.
I know. And by the way, I don't know who's responsible, but sorry, Alina, for the chocolate fingerprints. Anyway, it was Devin, I'm sure.
No.
It was Joe.
It was Joe.
Okay, fine. The spot on the river where they were found was surrounded by mangrove trees.
Oh, well, that's it.
There you go. Yeah, deadly mangrove trees. They might have been KGB spies. I don't know. But it happens that mangrove trees actually do emit hydrogen sulfide. And according to experts, it's theoretically possible to be gassed to death in a mangrove swamp. It's really unlikely, but if air conditions are just right, i.e. the air is totally stagnant, no wind, and if you're in a low spot in the ground, and the time of day actually makes a difference too, then it's theoretically possible to be gassed just by mangroves. Not likely. Not likely.
No.
But
That's a 1 in a gazillion chance.
Yeah.
yeah. But there was something else that was augmenting the hydrogen sulfide concentration in the area, and that was pollution. There had in the past been tanning factories, a chemical company, a vinegar company. All these guys dumping waste into the river. There was also a sewer line, which I don't know if the sewer line leaked or not, but they actually laid the sewer line right down the middle of the river.
It leaked.
Yeah.
They always do.
They always do.
Usually do. Yeah. And also, this is probably the worst offender, was the Chicago Corn Flour and Starch Mill, which dumped about 20 million gallons of sulfurous waste into the river every year from 1894 until about 60 years later when they closed. So a lot of that stuff accumulated. The sulfurous waste apparently killed a lot of plants and fish. It caused a rise in what's called saprophytic bacteria, which I don't know much about bacteria, to be honest with you, but apparently this particular kind of bacteria, they live on dead organic matter, and they produce hydrogen sulfide.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be the kind of stuff where you see a pond that is full of algae and everything dies, and then the algae dies, and then nothing ever grows in it again because it's full of that bacteria. Because we've all seen those kind of dead ponds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. And also making matters even worse is they constructed a weir downstream from the site.
What's a weir? Sorry.
Yeah, a weir is a low dam, and the idea of a weir is that it's low enough that water can still flow over the top of it, but it still dams it up and creates like a pond or pool behind it.
Sure.
Problem with the weir is all the stuff that's flowing downstream most of it's like just accumulating. It's not just flowing out to sea. And actually, this river, the Lane Cove River that we're talking about, is actually a tributary of a larger river, so it's not flowing directly into the sea, of course. But anyway, and also tidal action can't come up. Like the water from downstream can't be shoved up and sort of flush it out and back downstream. None of that's going on because the weir is blocking the path.
Because all of this stuff that's getting dumped into the river is acting like a sediment and just building up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So theoretically, it's possible that there could be, there could actually be eruptions of hydrogen sulfide.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
That's not great.
Bubbles in the mud go burst, and then next thing you know, a big cloud of hydrogen sulfide comes out. And residents of the area had been complaining for decades about a really bad rotten egg smell in the area, in the neighborhood. And, well, that's what hydrogen sulfide smells like.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, that stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. At a level of one...
I can't even pity laugh for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that was lame. Yeah.
Oh, come on. I was trying.
No. It was a high-quality attempt at humor. So 1 part per million, you'll notice a bad smell. At about 30 parts per million.
This is hydrogen sulfide itself, right?
Hydrogen sulfide, yeah. About 30 parts per million and up, it smells like rotten eggs. And then apparently, between 50 and 100 parts per million, it smells supposedly kind of sickeningly sweet. I don't know. I haven't smelled the stuff.
No, I can't say I've ever smelled that concentration, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if I've ever whiffed this stuff, to tell you the truth. Over 100 parts per million, it paralyzes your olfactory nerve almost instantly.
So you can't smell it.
So you can't smell it, but it's invisible to you. You just wouldn't notice it. You just notice yourself feeling sick and puking and having breathlessness. And you'd be going, gee, I wonder what's going on with this, And then you just,
Not feeling so hot.
Yeah, I'm puking. Okay, well, so what?
You would probably just die, right? I mean...
Eventually,
unless you left the area.
Unless you're lucky enough to leave the area, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I walked into a room, for example, and I started getting breathless and puking, I'd probably would walk out of the room. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you never know. I mean, you're going to be oxygen deprived. Your brain's not going to be functioning at 100%, so who knows. I'm told that at 200 parts per million, respiratory failure occurs within seconds. And at 1,000 parts per million, which we're not even close to that, but a single breath can cause cardiac arrest, just like that. So the levels here were probably in the 100+ range at the river, but they weren't measured, so nobody knows exactly sure. It's
just kind of anecdotal.
Yeah, it appears that 100 parts per million was not uncommon in the area on still, windless days. And because it's heavier than air, it tends to pool in hollows and low spots, like down right over the river and stuff like that. Down the riverbed. And so it would seek the low points along the bank. And to anybody that's breathing it in, when it reaches those concentrations of plus 100% parts per million, you don't know it's there.
Yeah.
You just notice all of a sudden you're breathless, you're nauseous, and you get confused. You just don't make good choices. And you wind up, these people probably could have saved themselves. I buy the theory. I think it's the most...
So you're in for this one.
Well, this is my number 2 one.
Oh, well, let's keep going on this one before you go with your number one, because I think I know what your number one's going to be.
Oh, of course.
But
they could have saved themselves. I mean, obviously, if their brains had been functioning at 100%, they could have just, stood up. Just standing up might have done the trick, raising themselves up that high. And certainly walking up the riverbank and getting away from it would probably have done a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if you add in that they may have been drunk or otherwise inebriated, I buy it a little more.
But they were horizontal for some reason.
I do have the problem of him dying so much faster than her, and also her making it 45 feet away from him.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it's not like right there. And then I guess none of these theories really address the fact that they're all covered up, but you know.
Well,
but
yeah.
let me.
And
I'm trying to figure out how to not say this too graphically, but if they are in the act, he is excited. He's probably going to be taking very deep breaths and breathing in quite rapidly, where if she is not as excited, she's breathing more normally.
Or
he may have been taking more of it in, and as they try to scramble away, he can't make it, which is why she gets farther away and doesn't die as quickly.
Or the other thing is possibly he was on the bottom and she was on the top.
Possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking of it in terms of respiration is where I was taking that with,
that
is
too.
that he may have been very excited and rapidly breathing and getting more of it. I mean, if we're going to say this is what it is, and I'm not 100% on this theory.
Well,
but
yeah, it's got its weaknesses.
It does.
Number one being at least a couple more people should have died over the years by this river.
Yeah.
Additionally, the people who found, not so long after, or Chehalis, who was in that same area at the same time, should have said, oh, it was really stinky, or, oh, I was feeling a little ill myself. He didn't have any ill effect.
One thing to know about, it's hydrogen sulfide, correct?
Yeah.
One of the things that breaks it down super fast is sunlight.
Well, I don't
So
think it was
if
sunny.
they're all there, if the boys are there at 9
That's
and
fine.
Chalice is there around the same time, but
No.
he's walking around.
No.
He was there at the same time, right?
He was there at the same time as Bogle and Chandler.
Right,
Or-
but he's not on the river bank.
Sure. He's not that far away, though.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. If it's 5 in the morning,
He walked the path.
there's not sun. Yeah, no, I can see where the sunshine issue. Okay, I see where the problem is with that, but he's also not on the riverbank.
Right, but if it's in that high concentration down below, at the very least, he's going to say it was really strong odor.
Yeah, it
or
really stank.
I
Yeah,
really
it
didn't
was that.
feel okay, or something. If it was so strong that it could literally kill people not 50 feet down the bank, he's going to feel some effects, or at least smell something, or mention something about that. You would think.
Yeah.
But he may not have mentioned it because people who lived in that area, as I think Joe had talked about before, had been complaining about this for years. So it just may have been, this part of the river stinks.
Maybe.
Well, also, it's,
I'm not going to talk about it because it just, everybody knows this river stinks.
Well, you never know, too, because there's a medical condition known as anosmia, which means that you can't smell. You can't detect odors. And it's actually more common than people realize. And so,
Maybe. Yeah.
He
Some
may
of the guys,
have
that
had
just
that, or...
Yeah, so that's
Fair.
entirely within. But
Fair.
but no, I mean there were other people like wasn't it the case that some of the reporters that went down and checked out the crime scene were reported a really disgusting odor?
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Of course, that could have been all the feces too. I don't know.
Yeah, that probably was
That
a contributing
probably didn't help
factor.
matters, huh?
Yeah.
All the puke and feces, yeah.
Well, you, Joe, I hesitate to give you the reins
do
for
it.
this one, but you had one more theory.
Don't do
Oh
it.
no, I'm not gonna bring it up. You guys can't handle the truth.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank goodness we don't have to hear it then.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess really, if you can learn anything from this, is that these guys should have gotten a motel.
Yeah.
Their life certainly would have been a lot different.
Really?
Yeah. Next time, get a freaking room, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
That's the moral of the story.
Well, before we wrap this up, Joe, it sounds like you're mostly behind the hydrogen sulfide theory for the most part. Not 100%, but that's your number one candidate.
Yeah, I mean, when you set aside all the lurid, ludicrous murder theories, I don't see anybody that had a strong motive to kill these people. And the idea of making up a really exotic aerosol that can kill them and not leave anything in their tissues and stuff like that. Well, how many people have that capability?
Yeah,
And
no,
so-
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And so this is the only one that really, actually makes any sense at all. Even though I still have a problem with it, like I said, more people should have been dying along that river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I think I lean slightly towards poisoning of some kind, just because I do think that there's a strong anecdotal evidence, at least, for them being sick upon exit of the car. I think that seems to me. I don't know, maybe they parked it next to Chehalis, realized that he was there, so they parked the car. They parked it across the street from him, so they were about to go to town on each other, and then, oh crap, I feel sick, better run out in there. I don't know. Again, though, there are a lot of unanswered questions
Actually,
with all that stuff.
Actually, it just occurs to me that, what if somebody gave them a poison, but not something intended to kill them, but something which actually had a deleterious effect on their respiratory system. Something which actually,
in combination.
One of the side effects of it, maybe somebody gave them a laxative because just for fun, but maybe this particular drug also had a side effect of being bad for your respiratory system. But of course, it's not. Not typically in the doses you give it, it's not going to affect you that adversely.
One of the things that Ruth Nash got investigated for was she also, if I remember correct, she was into the Dachshund scene as well. She loved dachshunds, and she had deworming medication for the dogs that had been prescribed by her vet, which, if you've ever accidentally gotten anything like that, it has the effect of a laxative on the human system.
Yeah.
And so that happens. These things happen. And they checked her out. They checked all her pills. They checked the bodies for that. So it could have been some kind of derivative like that. I'm not, but I know that was something that got looked into. I personally, the only one that works is the sulfide, the hydrogen sulfide. But my issue with it is, as Joe said, why didn't more people die?
Yeah.
And over the years, in places that are notorious for actually having these eruptions of hydrogen sulfide, there's only been a handful of deaths.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't happen too often,
But
this is the only one that was a double murder from this. If it was this, 2 deaths at the same time. I have an issue with it. I don't have a better theory. None of them seem to stand up. This is the only one that seems to have some evidence behind it.
Yeah.
But it's just so lucky. The odds of it happening at that time and place,
let's be fair.
Yes, are so high.
Yeah, but I also have the problems with the who covered their bodies and
because the
why
initial reports
and
were
2 hours.
Like
2 hours is a long time for her to have outlived him. It's one thing if it were 45 minutes, a half an hour, even an hour, fine. But for them to be breathing the same toxins in the same quantities, but for her to last 2 whole hours longer than him.
She was 45 feet away. She may have been just high enough up.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
That she passed out.
Yeah,
Maybe.
she was unconscious.
But she was in a depression, and
which is probably what.
And I could be wrong, but I think the drawings looked like she was actually closer to the. I mean, it's true. The pocket could have been more localized to where he was. That's fine, but it does seem weird.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand.
I don't either.
I can't pull any of these as my prime. I love this theory.
Yeah.
I'm saying it was the professor in the library with the lead pipe.
Again.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you can cut that. You can cut that one out.
If you have a theory about this that you would like to share with us, you are more than welcome to do that. You can go to our website, which is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. You can leave a comment on the site. Of course, you'll find some of our research there and the audio for this episode or any of the episodes that we've put out. Most folks are listening to us through some streaming app, whether it be Stitcher or a web app or a mobile app. We're on most of those. We're, of course, on iTunes.
Yep.
So if you're on iTunes, please do take the time. Leave us a comment and a rating. We are on Facebook. We have the group and the Facebook page, and both the group has been insanely busy lately, and it's been fantastic. All the stuff that's going on, so that's really, really fun. So if you want to get in on that, like the page, join the group. Everybody seems to be enjoying that. Of course, we're on Twitter. It is Thinkin' Sideways, so drop the G on thinking. You can find us there. We do tweet. We have conversations with folks on there as well. Yeah, sort of. Well, it's 100 and some odd characters. It's not a big conversation.
That's fair.
Let's see what else. Oh, of course, we've got our email address. If you do want to tell us something, you've got thoughts on this story or suggestions for other ones, any and all emails are happily received at thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. Without saying that having been said, just Devin looks at me every time I do that. We're going to roll this one up, put it in the can, slap a bow on it, and call it done.
Yes.
Don't forget about time, damn it.
Yeah. We've been working on this one for a while, and I still don't know what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'm staying the hell away from that river.
Yeah.
And like I
kind of
said,
nice now.
like I said, get a room, people.
Yeah.
They took the weir out, I think.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure they've cleaned it up.
hopefully. We're going to go ahead and, I'm going to call it a night. I don't know about you two. So I will talk to all of you
on
folks later.
forever, but yeah. No, I guess I'll go too. See you later. See you later, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Hey everybody, Steve here. We today are releasing a bonus episode of Thinking Sideways. It's our show that we call Down the Rabbit Hole. As some of you may know, we are on Stitcher Premium, and once a month on Stitcher Premium, we put out bonus content. And we wanted to share with you what that bonus content was, so you could know what you could get if you were to join Stitcher Premium. So what you're going to hear here is an episode that we released a couple of months back, and this is the kind of thing that you would get on a regular basis. So enjoy!
Thinking Sideways. Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
I don't understand.
Thinking sideways. Thinking sideways.
Devin?
Steve?
Joe.
Thinking sideways.
Hi there. Welcome to a very special episode of Thinking Sideways. And by very special, we don't mean heartwarming. We mean murder.
We
or
mean
something.
down the rabbit hole!
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We're going down the rabbit hole. Brought to you, of course, by Stitcher Premium, which you probably already know about since you're listening to us on Stitcher Premium. Okay. You guys ready to go?
We
Talk
are.
about this mystery? All right. And I am Joe, by the way.
Brought to you by?
I
You're
know,
Joe,
I
brought to
know.
you by?
Yeah.
You were brought to you by
know,
you were brought to us
yeah.
by your mom.
Yeah.
I know.
And your dad.
Your
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah, okay, I'm Joe, and those other two people, forget about them.
As usual.
That's Steve, and who's
Devin,
that? Okay,
always.
Devin, okay, good. Glad we got that straight.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a mystery. And you guys are going to like this one. It involves the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a boat, which vanished mysteriously.
Okay.
Which is what you're doing it.
It's pretty cool, yeah. And now wait, if you're one of those people that's sick of the Bermuda Triangle thing, this is a little different. Would you guys not agree?
A
'Cause,
little bit, yeah.
yeah, I mean, the boat, it's not one of those boats that sailed off.
This is really on the fringe of the whole Bermuda Triangle.
Well, it's really on the tip of the triangle, and this boat vanished within sight of Miami Beach, Florida. Within sight. And also just after communicating with the Coast Guard, like minutes after, and then the boat just has vanished. But let's start from the beginning. This happened 50 years ago on December 22nd, 1967. And the boat that disappeared was called the Witchcraft. And it was a 23-foot cabin cruiser owned by Daniel Barak, who was a real estate and hotel developer in Pennsylvania, and I think also in Miami. He was fairly rich, had a house, a really nice house, in a really nice neighborhood in Miami Beach, plus a few others in Pennsylvania. Aboard the boat with Dan Barak was a passenger, Father Patrick Corrigan, also called Padre Corrigan, who was a Catholic priest from Fort Lauderdale. Although originally he was from Ireland. He'd been naturalized like 10 months before. So they were the only two passengers on the boat. Dan Barak invited Father Horgan to go out on his boat to see the Christmas lights of Miami
That was nice of him.
from the water. You all right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun little outing. I don't know if they took beer or not. I assume they did. They left Dan Burrick's home on Sunset Island. I should say Sunset Island number 4, Miami Beach. I know there's a little string of 4 islands there on the inside of the island that is Miami Beach, right? Yeah.
I'm
So
familiar.
number 1 is the most prime real estate?
I don't know about that.
It was just the first one.
They're just numbered 1 through 4 as you go north to south, and
Got it.
you know, and actually it's kind of nice. Actually, that they didn't name them all different names, like Sunset Island and Treasure Island, and Bunny Island.
Stapler Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Stapler Island?
They were running out of names, okay?
Yeah,
There's a
Stapler.
lot of islands down there.
I
There
kind
are.
of like that, the office products chain. You know, there's Stapler, there's Post-it note.
Have you ever
Island.
been in a town where you wondered
Yeah.
where the hell they came up with the street names? It's the same problem. The guy is sitting, Paperclip, Lamp Road, Monitor Way.
I feel like usually it's just, I know, A, B, C, D, E, Ave.
That's
Well,
a nice way.
they can only do 26 streets, and then they gotta find something else.
A, B, B. But, well, back to our story, though. And I'll give you a quick overview of the geography of Miami Beach. Most of you probably know it, but for those who don't, we have the city of Miami, which is on the mainland, down near the south end of the peninsula of Florida. And then to the east of that, there's a big barrier island, and that island is Miami Beach. In between is Biscayne Bay. Dan Burrick's home, as I said, was on a small island on the west side of Miami Beach. So Dan Burrick and Father Horgan left the island in the boat and went west into Biscayne Bay, then turned south and motored about 2.5 miles south to what's called Government Cut, which is a channel between Miami Beach and Fisher Island to the south of Miami Beach. You guys, I'm sure, went and looked at the maps and stuff in the aerials. and
Well,
saw
yeah, you sent it to us. We couldn't help but see it.
I know.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to
Yeah, I
afford.
sent you guys a nice nautical chart and everything that explained all this stuff. Yeah. So that was Government Cut is a dredged out channel. It allows deep water ships and, of course, cruise ships to get in and out of the port of Miami. And it goes southeast about a mile out from Miami Beach, and then it jogs 45 degrees to the northeast. It's marked by a series of red and green buoys. So on the north side of the channel is the red buoys, on the south side is the green buoys. So,
You know which way you're going.
Exactly. So it's very, very easy. On the south side of the channel, where it bends to the northeast, is Buoy 7, where a mystery takes place. So that's where Dan Burrick intended to take the Witchcraft.
About a mile offshore.
About a mile off from the southeast tip of Miami Beach. About a mile southeast of there.
Sorry, the Witchcraft?
Yeah, the Witchcraft. The name of the boat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, did we say that already?
Yeah.
And I just wasn't paying
You
attention?
just weren't paying attention.
Yeah, you were.
I was
probably-
reading ahead, sorry.
You were texting or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry everyone.
No, that's okay. And apparently they got there. So all was well until 9 p.m. when the Coast Guard got a radio message from Dan Burrick saying his boat had hit an underwater object.
And it's pretty shallow in that area, so it's not not weird that he would say he bumped into something.
Yeah, there are hazards there. I mean, there's tons and tons of pleasure boats, and if a boat sinks, and if it doesn't, it could actually wind up being just
My
under
point
the water.
is that
Yeah.
it's not hundreds of feet deep.
No,
kind
yeah,
of-
exactly. No,
yeah.
I think the water right around Buoy 7 is 24, 25 feet deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not deep at all. But anyway, he'd hit something, and it looks like the hull was not breached, apparently. He was calm and said there was no emergency. He just needed a tow. So we're all assuming, he didn't say exactly what was wrong, but I assume it damaged his screw or his rudder, or something
was
like
screwed.
that. Yeah, he was screwed. He was screwed, probably. So he needed a tow back to shore. He said he was by Buoy 7. And like I said, according to the Coast Guard, and I have no idea, I assume they taped the conversation, but maybe not. But they said he was totally calm about the whole thing. And he also said that he would shoot off a flare to make it easier to find him. But for some reason, he didn't shoot off